picture this. A Parisian salon, 18th century.
Ooh, I love it already.
The room is buzzing with the who's who of France.
Fancy.
And in walks this incredible violinist.
Ah, setting the stage, I see.
Everyone's captivated by his talent.
Naturally.
But there's this underlying tension.
Oh. What's that?
They're not just judging his music.
I was going to say there's always something more, isn't there?
They're judging him for the color of his skin.
It's sadly a tale as old as time, isn't it?
And that, my friend, is the world of the Chevalier de Saint-Georges.
A man of incredible talent, navigating privilege and prejudice.
Exactly. Joseph Boulogne, the Chevalier de Saint-Georges.
A name many may not know, but should.
And that's why we're diving into his story today.
A deep dive, indeed. Using 2 episodes of the Noble Blood podcast as our guide.
A life that reads like a Dumas novel.
Full of drama, talent, and a fight for recognition.
A reminder of how societal barriers affect even the most gifted.
But it's also a testament to the human spirit overcoming adversity.
To make a real mark on history.
Absolutely.
So let's start at the very beginning.
Okay, take me back in time.
1745, Guadeloupe.
Island life.
He's born to a wealthy plantation owner and an enslaved woman.
A complicated dynamic, for sure.
And his father makes a surprising decision.
Oh, what's that?
Brings him to France for a better education.
Wow, that's unusual for the time, especially for a mixed-race child.
Shows you the complexity of their relationship.
A father wanting a different life for his son.
But even in France, prejudice followed him.
Oh, I bet. It's like a shadow, hard to shake off.
How did young St. Georges deal with these limitations?
I'd imagine it fueled his ambition.
To prove himself.
Exactly. He seemed to understand that excellence was his way in.
In a society obsessed with lineage and appearances.
It's almost as if he channeled that frustration into something powerful.
And he excelled, especially in
Yeah.
fencing.
Ah, the art of the duel.
At just 13, he's at a prestigious fencing academy.
Making his mark early.
And at 17, he wins a very public duel.
Against a seasoned master, no less.
Cementing his reputation.
It's a story straight out of a movie.
But did it change how people saw him?
Sadly, not really.
They still saw his race first.
Reducing his skill to the color of his skin?
Calling him the mulatto.
Imagine that. You're celebrated, yet still judged.
It's heartbreaking.
A sign of the times.
But his talent wasn't confined to fencing.
Is there anything this man couldn't do?
While he was mastering the sword, he was also
Come on, tell me I'm on the edge of my seat.
developing incredible skills as a violinist.
No way. A true Renaissance man.
It's like he had to be twice as good to be considered half as worthy.
And eventually, his musical talents caught the eye of someone special.
Someone who could open doors for him.
Who was it?
François-Joseph Gossec, the renowned composer.
Ah, a mentor to help him hone his craft.
Gossec took him under his wing.
That's a game changer.
And that opened incredible opportunities.
Leading him to
Becoming the director of the Concert des Amateurs Orchestra.
the prestigious Concert des Amateurs. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's where his musical innovations truly flourished.
He was pushing boundaries, right?
Absolutely. His compositions were brilliant and emotionally resonant.
I can only imagine.
And he created something truly groundbreaking.
I knew there was something special. Tell me more.
The Symphonie Concertante.
I've heard of this. What made it so different?
Imagine 2 violins having a conversation,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
each one trying to outdo the other.
A musical duel, if you will.
Exactly. A departure from the traditional orchestral format.
Giving the soloists a chance to shine.
Some even say it reflects St. George's own struggle
To be seen and recognized.
for his true worth.
It's as if he took the drama of fencing and put it into music.
And his talent couldn't be ignored.
Even by...
Queen Marie Antoinette herself.
No way. The Queen of France.
She became a patron of his work.
That's a testament to how his talent transcended social barriers.
But as we've seen, even that wasn't enough.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
Because St. George's was proposed for an incredible role.
A role that seemed perfect for him. Go on.
The director of the Paris Opera.
Wow. That's huge. What happened?
But he faced some serious opposition.
I bet I can guess why.
Kid you.
Prejudice, wasn't it?
You hit the nail on the head.
They couldn't handle a man of color leading the Paris Opera.
Despite his accomplishments, despite the Queen's support,
How frustrating.
they dissolved the position to stop him.
A blatant attempt to keep him down.
So how did he react?
I hope he didn't let them win.
Not at all.
Good for him. He was unstoppable,
He kept composing, kept performing.
proving his passion was stronger than their bigotry.
Speaking of unstoppable, This brings us to a what if.
Oh, I love a good historical what if.
In 1778,
Okay.
St. George was living in the same mansion.
As
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Mozart. Now that's a name everyone knows.
There's no record they ever met.
But
Some say Mozart might have been envious of St. George's success.
Mozart, envious. I've never thought of him like that.
It's a fascinating thought.
I wonder if their musical styles were similar. Would that have caused rivalry?
You know, Mozart was known for his classical elegance.
Right. Mozart, very refined, very structured.
St. George was more
Oh.
dramatic and innovative.
Oh, yes. I can see how their styles were quite different.
Maybe it wasn't rivalry, but recognition of each other's talent.
Two masters appreciating each other's unique gifts. Makes you wonder what might have happened if they collaborated.
A true missed opportunity.
Oh, such a shame.
It's like a reminder that sometimes talent alone isn't enough.
There are always other forces at play, but St. George wasn't one to dwell on missed opportunities.
He always pushed forward.
Always looking for a new challenge.
And speaking of challenges,
Here we go.
this brings us to one of the most intriguing episodes in his life.
Okay, lay it on me.
His duel with the Chevalier Dion,
Another Chevalier. Who was this Dion?
a famous spy and duelist
Sounds intriguing already.
who presented as a woman.
Whoa, defying gender norms back then? That's incredible.
The duel happened in London.
Talk about a spectacle. Two Chevaliers both pushing societal boundaries.
It sounds like something out of a novel.
It really does.
Yeah.
So what was at stake here? Was it more than just a test of skill?
It was a clash of personalities,
Ego versus ego.
a challenge to the established order,
A battle of wits and wills.
and maybe a reflection of society grappling with changing ideas.
About gender, identity, social hierarchies. You've painted quite a picture.
I tried.
So tell me, who won this epic duel?
It's a mystery.
Oh, come on, don't leave me hanging.
Some say Dion won.
I guess that makes sense. She was quite the duelist.
Others suggest St. George let her win.
He let her win, really.
It makes you wonder, why would he do that?
St. George was so competitive, maybe he was sympathetic to Dion's struggle.
He understood what it meant to defy expectations.
A kindred spirit, in a way.
Maybe this duel wasn't about winning or losing.
More about
Making a statement.
challenging the rules, the boundaries that society tried to impose.
Exactly. It's such a fascinating window into their characters,
And the changing world they lived in.
showing the power of individuals to push boundaries,
To challenge the status quo.
even when facing societal pressures.
They refused to be put in a box. Inspiring, really.
And then the world around them changed dramatically
Ah, yes, the French Revolution. A turning point in history.
with the arrival of
A new era. The French Revolution. A time of upheaval. A cry for liberty, equality, fraternity.
How did St. George navigate this tumultuous period? He knew firsthand the sting of inequality.
You know, he really embraced the revolution. He saw it as a chance for real change in France.
He didn't just sit back and watch, did he?
Not at all. He actually joined the National Guard.
The citizen militia, they were at the heart of it.
Exactly. To fight for a more just and equitable society.
It's incredible, a man facing so much discrimination, taking up arms for a better future.
It really speaks to his character, his belief in change.
And his role in the National Guard went beyond just being a soldier.
Oh, tell me more.
He was appointed captain
A captain, that's impressive.
of a battalion made up entirely of men of color.
Wow. That must have been quite a sight. A mixed-race man leading soldiers of color fighting for freedom.
What a powerful image, challenging the very forces of oppression.
It's a real testament to how far he'd come. But the French Revolution was complicated.
It was a revolution after all.
Yeah.
Messy, unpredictable,
Full of contradictions.
and sadly, St. George became a victim of those contradictions
Don't tell me.
during the Reign of Terror.
No, that period of paranoia and violence.
He was in prison.
But he was a champion of the revolution. What happened?
It's a reminder of how quickly things can unravel, how ideals can be twisted.
So even though he was fighting for a just society,
He became a victim of the system.
it's tragic. What were the charges?
They were weak. Basically, they stemmed from his past associations.
With the aristocracy.
Right. Remember, he'd been part of Parisian high society for years.
And those connections came back to haunt him.
Prejudice and suspicion always seem to find a way, don't they?
Sadly, yes.
He spent over a year in prison.
A year in those conditions.
It's amazing he came out of it with any hope left.
The human spirit is incredibly resilient.
But there's this bittersweet element to his imprisonment.
What do you mean?
While he was locked up, slavery was abolished in France.
Wow. The very freedom he fought for.
realized while he was behind bars.
Mm.
Talk about conflicting emotions.
It highlights the twists and turns of history, the personal sacrifices made for a just world.
Progress isn't always straightforward.
And the story doesn't end there. He was released from prison.
Just before Napoleon's rise to power.
Napoleon, the one who reinstated slavery in the colonies.
Some historians think Napoleon downplayed St. George's achievements
Trying to erase his influence.
because he feared St. George's story would inspire abolitionist sentiment.
It shows how those in power feel threatened by those who challenge the status quo.
Constant vigilance, always questioning those in power.
And what about St. George's story?
It lived on, especially in Guadeloupe, his birthplace.
That's powerful.
His music was celebrated, his accomplishments remembered.
True legacy lives in the hearts and minds of those touched by his story.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It involves Alexandre Dumas.
The author of The Three Musketeers. What's his connection to St. George's?
His father, Thomas Alexandre Dumas, served in St. George's Battalion.
Oh, wow, a direct link.
And in Alexandre Dumas' memoirs, he paints St. George's in a negative light.
A negative light. How so?
He even suggests St. George's lacked courage.
Really? That's the complete opposite of everything we've learned.
It makes you wonder, was this some kind of historical revisionism?
Why would he portray him so negatively?
Well, remember, Alexandre Dumas never actually met St. George's.
Right. He relied on stories from his family.
And those stories could have been colored by personal opinions.
It's like a game of telephone, where the story changes with each retelling.
And here's another interesting detail. When St. George was arrested, Thomas Alexandre Dumas got a big promotion
A promotion? What was it?
to brigadier general.
That timing seems suspicious.
Could there have been professional rivalry between them?
That might have influenced St. George's arrest.
It's possible.
So much we'll never know for sure.
We're left to piece together the fragments.
Weighing the evidence, considering different perspectives.
And that's what makes history so fascinating.
It's a tapestry woven from human experiences, interpretations.
The constant evolution of narrative.
So we should approach historical accounts with a healthy dose of skepticism,
Questioning sources. Considering context.
acknowledging potential biases.
History is a conversation.
And it's always ongoing, always evolving.
We've been through so much with the Chevalier. His highs and lows.
His battles with prejudice, his absolute dedication to excellence.
It's incredible how one person can leave such a mark on history, especially with so many barriers in his way.
You know, his life really shows the power of resilience.
And talent, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And that commitment to breaking down barriers. He wasn't going to let society limit him.
He pushed those boundaries, defied expectations.
He paved the way for a more inclusive future just by being himself.
And it's not just what he did, but how he did it.
He had such grace and determination, never letting prejudice define him.
It's inspiring. Reminds us that true strength comes from forging your own path.
Embracing your unique talents.
And fighting for your beliefs.
Absolutely. He shows us that change is possible even when it seems impossible.
He never let those barriers determine his destiny. He used his talents, his intellect, his spirit to carve his own space.
In a world that tried to shut him out.
His life was full of contradictions, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Born into slavery, rising to the top of Parisian society.
Celebrated musician, but also a swordsman, a military leader.
A champion of equality, imprisoned by the revolution he supported.
It's a reminder that life is rarely simple or straightforward.
It's in those complexities that we find the most compelling, the most inspiring parts of the human experience.
George says he challenges us to embrace that messiness of history.
To recognize the nuances, the contradictions.
Not to simplify or sanitize the past.
Exactly. History is more than just dates and names. It's about people.
Their stories, their struggles, their triumphs. That's where we find the real richness of history.
An inspiration for our own lives.
As we think about his legacy, it's clear he had a lasting impact.
He might not be a household name today, but his contributions to music, his fight for equality, his drive for excellence.
They still resonate with us centuries later.
True legacy isn't always about fame, is it?
It's about the impact of a life well lived.
The inspiration we draw from those who came before us.
How we carry their stories forward.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Chevalier's extraordinary life, I want to leave you with this. What can we learn from him?
His pursuit of excellence.
His resilience.
His dedication to fighting for a just world.
How can we apply those lessons today? To our own lives, our communities, the challenges we
It's
face.
like a call to action, to embrace that spirit,
To use our talents, our passions to make a difference.
fight for what we believe in.
Never let limitations define us.
And if you really want to connect with his legacy, explore his music.
You'll hear his soul in it.
It's a reminder of the power of creativity to transcend time and circumstance.
You might even find your new favorite composer.
And don't let his story end here. Share it. Tell others.
Let's keep his memory alive.
Let his story inspire us to build a world where talent, determination, and a belief in equality can truly flourish. Until next time, keep diving deep into the fascinating world of history.